In this video, I'm going to go over the three different data sheets that you have received to fill in the data for Section 1 of the Faculty Institute. The first data sheet is the headcount data sheet, and it's formatted blue. The headcount data sheet is based on the section level. So on the first part, you're going to see the general information of the section, including the faculty, the term, the program, as well as meeting days and meeting times. This is for your reference. The next table, the one under overview by overall program, this table will tell you all the headcount for that program for the different academic years that we're analyzing. The final table, overview by CRN, will break down the headcount data based on CRN, course, overall program, CTE or non-CTE, as well as SDC level. Here, it will also be broken down by the different demographics. For your filling in the online form, you will be focusing on the CRN column, the first column, and the SDC column, the last column. Also, you might have received more than one of these data sheets. It is important that you only pick one of them for your analysis when you input the data in the online form. And this is the same case when working with retention and success. The other data sheet that you should have received is the green data sheet, which in this case, this is the one that has to do with retention. And the other data sheet you should have received is the red data sheet that has to do with success. The green and the red data sheet have the exact same format, so I will go only over one of them. The data sheet starts by giving you a general idea of the data we're looking at. It first defines retention and tells you the formula that we used, or success for the other data sheet. And then after that, the table under overview by overall program, that table will show you the total data that we have in our system, as well as out of that data, which was selected for this analysis. This is broken down by academic year, and we divide it by the different enrollments that we have, as well as the sections that we have in the analysis. The table below will break down the total enrollments for the academic year based on the term, as well as the total number of the year at the end, and it will give you enrollments as well as the retention numbers or success numbers, as well, and its rate. Then we have a table similar to the blue sheet that we had before. We're actually focused only on CRN level on the top part. This is all dependent on that CRN. However, this table will give you the data in CRN as course level, overall program, CTE, and SDCE for the specific term. In this case, it would be fall 18. Again, just like before, this is broken down by demographics. And here you will be focusing your attention in the first column as well as the last column, the column for the section level, the CRN level, and the SDC level. In this case, you will be focusing on this section right here where it says retention rate. And this is the one that you're going to be inputting on your data sheet for success and for retention respectively. Now that I have gone through all the different data sheets that you'll be looking at, I'm going to go through an example of how to fill in the data. So go ahead and open the Faculty Institute, and then you're going to start with enrollment rates by demographic. This is, even though this is enrollment, this corresponds to the blue data sheet that we discussed at the beginning. So you're going to pick the CRN that you want to input the data, and then you're going to go down, and for CRN level, as you can see this column right here, they start here with ethnicity. So you're going to go to African American, and then African American is 8%, and then you input 8%. Then you keep going, American Indian, and 0%. So then to remember, you're using the first column or the first column right here. Something to keep in mind, Hispanic is the same as Latino. Also, the white and the two or more races are in different order than the ones on the form that you received. And the last thing to keep in mind is that other and unreported are in two different options, while in the online form, it's only in one option. So keep that in mind when filling in your data. Lastly, to fill in the second column, you're gonna have to go to the last column right here and fill in the data. In this case, African American corresponds to 8%, so there's an 8% there. American Indian, Alaskan Native, 0%, so 0% here. Asian, 15%, and so on and so forth. Also be very careful because once you open your form, you might have had already data here. So make sure you erase that data before you start inputting the data that you received. Once you fill in this data, then go ahead and go to the next sheet, and then you have course retention rates by demographic. Retention corresponding to your green sheets. So now you're going to go to the green sheets, and you're going to open them, and then go down, and it's important to pick the same CRN that you picked before. So let's zoom in. Remember, you're using the first column to fill in your retention rates, and you're going to be looking at the value right here. Since we're looking at demographics, ethnicity first, we're going to look at this. In this case, there's nothing for African American, American Indian, or Asian. So for those scenarios, you're going to input NA. Go ahead and do the same thing on the ones on the bottom. However, for Filipino, we have a retention rate of 0%. So in this case, you go 0%. And then the other cases, we'll have Latino, which Hispanic corresponds to 17%. Pacific Islander right here, that's NA. Two or more races is 50%. And then the white demographic, 0%. And lastly, other unreported. We have other, which there's nothing here, and unreported 0%, so we'll go ahead and do 0% in this case. Now, make sure that you erase these values here since they were originally there and they don't correspond to the right data. Now that I've cleaned those values, then you can go and pick the values right here. So in this case, let's see, we have African American corresponds to 61% for the overall retention rate. American Indian, 67%. Asian, 68%, and so on and so forth. Lastly, course success rates by demographic. Here, you're going to use the red sheet, and you're going to use the exact same system that we used before. Pick the same CRN as you picked before, and then look at the success rate for the CRN level, as well as the SDC level, and input them where they should be. Again, be careful with those values because they're auto-populate. Make sure you erase them before you put the data in. So here you will follow the same idea that I performed before with the green sheets. Now, something that I want to talk to before we end this video is that the first column right here corresponds to enrollments. Of course, these enrollments should add up to 100%. However, this is not the same case with success. In this case, the success, for example, here says that for a female in your class, for fall 2018, for that specific class, you had a total of 15 females. However, out of those 15 females, only 2 of them were successful. That means that 13% of those 15 females were successful. Similar case here, if we look at the age group, we have that you had 1 student that was between the ages of 20 to 24, which corresponded to 6% of your total enrollments for that class in that term. However, out of that student, that 1 student was successful. That means that 100% of that age group demographic was successful. With this, you should have all the tools to fill in your online form. If you have any other questions, feel free to send email to Jesus Rivas or Juan Salcedo.